Oh, yes, and welcome in to the task force. I am Dan Leach, and listen, we've had many amazing guests since we started this show, beginning of this crazy pandemic, but none as incredible as tonight's. As we, of course, welcome in the Kingpin, Dave Rieger, but worldwide adult entertainment superstar, Michigan's own, the incredibly beautiful and tremendously awesome Kendra Lust. We're playing Come On, Feel the Noise. You said it's one of your favorite songs. It's the least I can do for you.
Thank you. I have to admit, during the quarantine, I have kind of gone back to some hard rock and some classic rock, and it's motivated me. So, yeah.
Well, you know, Dave was doing some research earlier, and Dave, you found out that during quarantine, classic rock is number one right now, isn't it?
Yeah, classic rock and oldies, according to the article I read, are like the number one genre of songs right now for the quarantine.
Well,
love it.
There's nothing like some good Zeppelin or Quiet Riot or Pink Floyd, whoever it is. Kendra, welcome in. It's so great to see you. We've been talking for a while, but you're just such a fascinating person. You're obviously incredibly popular in all facets of this globe. And there's a lot of things I want to get into with you about your career and your life and all that stuff. But I got to first ask you this. As a global, I know you're being very humble as you always are, but being a global adult superstar, what is quarantine like for you right now?
I don't want to be one of these people and say, oh, it's like someone quoted it and I won't say, it's like being in jail. No, it's not that bad. Ultimately, it's really not that bad.
It's not.
I love being home, whether you live in a small place or a big place. I think time with family is very important. Don't get me wrong. There are times I want to choke them all out. However, at the end of the day, I think it's not that bad. It's good to just kind of pause, take a breath, be grateful. I know a lot of people are struggling right now financially and emotionally, but we'll get through this, and we just need to kind of rely on each other. So
I think
I'm enjoying it.
No, I think we've talked a lot on this show, and Dave knows how I feel about this, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday. That it's a very tough time for so many reasons. Like, I've got friends that have lost parents to COVID. I have friends out of state that have lost relatives. We hear people that are in their 20s, 30s, 50s, 70s, 80s. I thought one of the craziest stories I heard was a woman who survived the Spanish flu, lost her sister to the Spanish flu when she was 5, just died of COVID at 102. So there's all these it's crazy, right? There's all these brutal stories. And you just touched on this, which I think is so important, which is why I love being able to do this show, have someone like you on, because you're humble, but you mean so much to so many. And we'll get into your career and why what you do is, I think, such an important thing that was taboo for a while and never should be again.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get into that for sure. But I think that right now, and Dave knows this too, Dave's a very close friend of mine. And, with what I do, doing sports radio, and obviously not being able to work at 97.1 right now because we've pared down things, we are connecting to each other, Kendra. We're being there for our families. And I think that I'm so hopeful, because you seem like me, a very hopeful person. When we come out of this, whatever that is, that we're a little kinder, a little more grateful. The Earth's going to be a little happier because the animals are retaking the forest. That's what my great hope is, Kendra.
Yeah. I'm on board with you, Dan, for sure.
Yeah, it's not easy, but it's times like this that you go through, and our relatives and our parents and our grandparents went through World War I and II, and et cetera, that you come out stronger the other side. Well, let's talk about this. You are from this great state of Michigan. Was it Madison Heights where you were born? Madison Heights?
Yes, that's right. The old St. John. Well, I think it's still there, St. John.
Yes.
Right there on DeQuinder and I think 11 Mile. So, yeah.
So tell the peeps. We already have a lot of people on the chat right now asking questions. Max Olive, and you got people from, I think this guy is from Europe somewhere, Sweden, he's saying.
Oh, okay.
People from everywhere.
Awesome.
I told you you're global. Tell everyone a little bit about, growing up in Michigan and what that was like for you.
So I don't know what normal is, but I try to put it into perspective to people when I talk about my family that my dad was like Clark Griswold to a T. I mean,
did he take you to Wally World?
Well, he probably would have if we could have gone. But I grew up in a normal like household.
Yeah.
Like people always try to stereotype people in adult that they have all of these issues and
right.
and what have you. And I guess that's another soapbox for another day. But normal. I mean, I had two awesome parents. You know, my dad tried to make family vacation every year a field trip. So there was some learning. But, you know, we grew up normal, very middle class, lower middle class. Both parents worked. I had a younger sister who I still torment to this day, but it's in a more loving way. You know, I love the Four Seasons. I mean, we did all kinds of things. So, I mean, snowmobiling, when we can get to one, sledding. I mean, it was normal growing up. You know, I was a big kid. I was a tomboy, actually. I loved sports. I always thought I could beat the boys at sports. A few bloody lips later and a broken finger. I'm still paying for it. But, you know, I was just a normal kid, just liked to hang out with friends. I had a big family, extended family, a lot of aunts and uncles and cousins. So I don't know, it's just normal, I guess, or whatever normal is, my normal.
Yeah, we'll get into the sports aspect, which of course we know that you love, and of course Dave and I do. But I was told that you were a freshman starter in basketball on your high school team. I mean, that's pretty impressive. Freshman starters don't happen often.
It was. However, our team sucked and we lost. I mean, we had one of the worst records in I think it was the MAC or MAC, I don't even know what they call it now, but we were awful. We had an awful team. We had an awful coach. I really like him personally, but he was a bad coach. Chuck Godman, I have love for you. He came to see me at the AVN a couple years ago, and I wasn't there that year. He had a girlfriend send a message through like Twitter, a little video, and he was so cute. So he was a cool guy, but I think he was going through some stuff. So I remember running a few practices back in the day, but we had fun nonetheless. We learned how to win. We learned a lot about losing, playing together as a team. So team sports, I'm a huge advocate for team sports and what it can do to keep a lot of kids out of trouble. So I forgot the damn question.
Well, no, because you were a freshman starter on your team. I don't care how bad you were. Yeah. And you played softball too. Yeah. And I know.
Yeah,
Dave's got a lot of questions for you. We get into this. You know, I'm fascinated by what you do when it comes to your career. And I wanted to start with, you know, you went to college for nursing. And by the way, obviously, mad props for that. Where did you go? Madonna, Schoolcraft? Where'd you go?
Well, I did actually go to Madonna to
that was my guess.
do I didn't go there though because it was a little too religious for me. And no offense, there's nothing wrong with that, and I'm a firm believer in, you know, I don't care what you believe in as long as you believe in something, whether it be just, you know, Buddhism, whatever. I mean, or if you don't believe, just don't push it on people and just be a kind human.
Yep.
Whatever it is, believe or not believe. But anyway, for me, it was a little bit, I feel like that was a little bit, might have been too much for me. So I didn't go there. So I started out community college. I also went to Wayne State. So, so here I am, a nursing degree. Took me a little while to figure it out, but I did. And I was a nurse for 8 years. I love it. Respect. I mean, thank you. And much respect to the nurses now with everything that they're doing. It's just scary. I have a neighbor and it's terrible. Like, it's awful. So I really loved it, but it isn't what you think when you are actually in school. You know, in school, you have all this time to take with your patients and you can, you know, do their hair and really talk to them. In the hospital, you're zipping around and it's crazy. So it's a big culture shock. It's, you know, it was kind of hard to adjust, but, you know, after 8 years, I kind of went in a new direction but I still miss it. You know, I miss giving back, and I love the elderly. They're the sweetest. I don't care how crabby they are. I don't care. I love elderly people. They're adorable.
I think Dave almost had a heart attack because he went to Wayne State too. So you guys have that in common. He's like, yes.
There we go. Yes, right.
By the way, I can't.
Well, I didn't say I lasted long there, but that's
my
okay.
Sister,
that's another
she only went for a couple of years too. I can't keep up with all your fans, but Ken Morgan says hi. It's Jess. You got them all over the place. But let's get into what happened here because I think it is totally fascinating. Okay. So you're a nurse for 8 years. you're obviously like this well-rounded, down-to-earth person. And you, for what I saw, and correct me if I'm wrong, you sent some pictures into Brazzers and I believe another site, right? And you started doing webcams. Kind of give us that process. And because I've always, listen, and we'll get into, like I said, how healthy it is to be involved in, adult stuff. And I think it saves marriages, saves relationships. It's a very healthy thing that shouldn't ever be taboo. That being said, I've always been fascinated and partaken in it myself. I think it's great to see beautiful women and see what they do and all that kind of stuff. But kind of go through that process for you. You're a nurse, you're saving lives, you're combing the hair like you mentioned. And then you're like, I want to try something different at 33, which, how did that all work out for you?
Yeah, right. Well, I'm like an old dog coming into, in adult years.
Yes.
Because, and I'll get into a little bit of that later, but just to kind of give a little background. So I really liked what I was doing, but there were a lot of family things that kind of happened in the span of a year without going into too much detail. It was kind of like, I know that I enjoy sex. Never thought that I would, or did I aspire to say, I'm going to, do porn for a living. It's not like, and hey, kudos to you if that's what you want, but that's not something that I aspired to do. However, circumstances in life kind of changed that. And, some things with my mom and my sister and my dad. And I was like, okay, what the hell do I do here? So I tried picking up overtime at the hospital and wasn't quite cutting it. So I decided to do webcam and I thought, okay, nobody will ever know. I can just, I didn't realize how big the internet was. And this was in 2011 is when I started my Twitter. And then in 2012, I thought, okay, I can just fly to LA, do my work and come back and no one will know. Had no idea because all I had were DVDs. Okay. So, I just didn't know. Okay. A little, naive, I guess, to that fact, the world of technology. So I did it for a few months, sent some pictures out to these companies, and I wasn't getting any bites. I'm like, gosh, people think like, okay, you're 33, you are coming from Michigan. We don't even know that you're real. You're all right. You might do okay. Others, nah, you're never going to make it. Don't bother, type thing. And I was like, okay, well, I'm pretty relentless, and this is it's like go big or go home. So right. Brazzers gets back with me. They say, okay, what the hell? We'll give you a shoot. So they put me with the most difficult director in the business.
Of course they did.
And I don't think it was purposeful. It was kind of like it was a girl site, right. Hot and mean. So I go out there basically to get my own ass kicked on film with this director who's just beating down his staff, and I'm feeling like so horrible for these people. I'm nervous as hell. And he's just berating his staff, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how this is going to go. What did I get myself into? So we started filming, and I guess I just kind of forgot about the camera and I don't know how. It's so weird. I can't do any acting or public speaking. I'm horrible, but I guess I could just get naked and, have sex on film, and it just didn't bother me. Right. I just kind of got caught wrapped up in the moment. And Eva Carrera was the first, one of the first girls that I worked with, and she was a pro. I think she was. Gosh, is she Russian or she's European? Let me tell you, she's tough. So it went, and after the scene, they said, well, maybe you should get an agent. You did pretty good considering. And I was like, okay, cool. All right. I don't know anybody. So it was kind of went on from there. And, the director was really nice. We talked about Jordans and, shoes and stuff. And I had no problem with him.
By the way, Kendra, everyone on the chat wants you to drop his name. You want to throw it out there?
To do what?
They don't want you to say his name because you were giving him a hard time. Do you want to say his name or not?
Gosh. Well, I think anybody, I don't like to sell people out.
Of course not.
That's just not my style. It's not my style. But I have a good rapport with him. But he's a tough director. I don't know that he directs for them anymore, to be quite honest. But he's a pretty successl businessman outside of adult. So, we'll leave that one alone.
Yeah, so that's fine. I don't like selling people out either, but everyone's like, drop his name. But let me say this. Dave's got some questions too about, the business and how this worked out for you. So you start, gaining a following. And I know, this is, people that are in the, interested in the industry know that MILF is a huge category. And by the way, you might have been 33, Kendra. You look 21. So we know you looked amazing. But as things started to grow, what was that like? Because you mentioned you started social media. You have over 6 million followers. I thought my dad likes to give me a hard time, Kendra, and say I'm a regional celebrity in my own mind. I have 20,000. You have 6 million. That's a huge, huge deal. You affect people's lives in a very positive way. As things started to take off, what was that like for you?
In all honesty, for me, I was always wanting more. I wanted to do more. I wanted awards. I wanted to, get my fleshlight. I wanted to do all these things. So for me, I don't want to say I didn't appreciate it, but for me, I was just so zoned in on and being one of, the best or trying to be, of my genre that I never really got caught up. And I don't see myself, I feel like other people see me because that's just not, I don't know, because I'm still Michelle. And if you Google my name, it's there. I'll always be Michelle, and I'll always have these unspoken about insecurities. I think that all women have, but I think the difference is I don't let them consume me.
That's very important.
That is important. But so I don't see myself like other people. But it was exciting. I guess when you see your name on a billboard, it's kind of cool. It's like, wow. That's kind of cool, but I don't sit and relish in it. That's just not who I am, it's not me.
No, but I did see a picture of you in Mexico with paparazzi all over the place. That's got to be, I might get an autograph here or there. Everywhere you go out, I'm guessing there's people all over the place looking for you.
Not even like that. So not even like that. And I like it that way. Yeah, I want to blend. I don't want to stand out too much. I don't want to be this circus freak, that I don't know. I want to blend, it's cool. When I'm away, I'm Kendra. When I'm home, I'm Michelle. And I like that, but lately I've had to be Kendra a lot in this house.
Yes.
And if you take a black light to this basement, no, I'm just totally kidding. But this basement's got a lot of use lately.
Dave, I know you got a lot of questions for Kendra. Go ahead, Dave.
So, the one question I can remember, I'm old enough to remember when they had the, the family video stores and the adult films were always in the secret room behind the curtain.
Yeah.
So it was always it was cool, but it was embarrassing, but it was do I go in there? Am I going to feel weird when I have to go up and rent this? And now it's porn everywhere, internet, whatever. Do people buy DVDs anymore? Is it, how is the business how they market it and how they sell it now, because you can get it free anywhere.
Yeah,
great question, Dave.
I was just gonna say a good question.
That's why I have him on the show. He occasionally hits a good question.
Yeah. So DVD is absolutely dead. However, there are I don't want to say old school, but I watch DVD, and a lot of people, when I do feature dancing, they like DVDs, they like to collect them and have you sign them and that type of thing. So as far as money wise, no, there's no money. Distribution is down because everything is online. So everybody knows Pornhub, obviously, and I don't want to say monopolize, but they have a huge part. They are the internet pretty much. They own several companies. They own babes.com. They own they're called Mind Geek. So they own Brazzers. Yeah. They own part of Bang Bros. So they have their hand in every piece of the pie, So you can make money though. Now, I guess the money is more in the creator's hands. Right. So it's more in the girl's hands. So there are still companies that shoot for, that have their sites and things like that, but all of it is downloadable online. So that's where they're making the money, through downloads. But even though all this stuff is free, they're able to make money through affiliate links. Absolutely. So if you advertise on their site, they're able to get revenue from that. So how else?
Subscriptions? I would assume subscriptions.
And selling ads, obviously. Selling those internet ads.
Yeah. if I have a channel on Pornhub, which I don't, just because I don't have a lot of talent. I don't use talent I don't do really anything here.
Right.
It would be hard for me, but a lot of girls do. Say they're in Vegas, they're in LA, they're in, Florida. So they'll create a channel, they'll get revenue, and then Pornhub gets revenue, so they get a piece of that pie as well. But I mean, there's online subscriptions pretty much. I mean, that's how a lot of the companies are making a ton of money through that.
I gotta believe subscriptions are very, very high right now.
Yeah, definitely now.
Let me tell you, yes, right now, March was since 2017 on my one account was my highest grossing month.
Yep. So that's all of, first off, loved he said Unreal Humor with your blacklight joke, but he also said, Kendra, I'm pretty sure I paid for a few mortgages for you via OnlyFans. And he's in there. And it's just that I pay for my adult content to support my favorite. So people are like, this is a time. This is a time right now when I'm sure someone like you that's worked hard to be where you're at, you should be able to reap these rewards because I know Dave got more questions. We'll get back to Dave in a minute, but I wanted to get into this because I think it's fascinating. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. When you look at this business and you look at, obviously, it's been taboo, and it still is in certain places, which to me is silly. Yeah. I mean, no offense to the great state of Alabama or places like that. Get into the 21st century. Yeah. I'm sure you got fans in Alabama. Great state. Go Tide. But for me, it's super healthy. I mentioned I have multiple friends that adult film stuff and cam stuff, whatever, has saved their marriage, has saved relationships. And I just wonder where you're at when it comes to, especially now, during a quarantine, people, we're going to have an economic recession. That's part of what's going on. We'll get through that. But we're also in the middle of a social recession. And to be able to connect on Zoom or do a show like this, let your fans see you live like this in this kind of setting, it means a lot to me. But we got to be there for each other. And during this time, being a sexual being, which I am, you are. Well, I don't know, Dave's the jury's not on Dave, but we'll say this.
Oh, thank you.
Silent. Yeah, silent.
I'm just kidding.
Thank you.
Dave knows I love him, but Dave knows I love him. But my point is, and my question to you is that this maybe more than ever, when we're all at home, we need that. I miss hugs. I miss kissing a girl, all that stuff. Why right now is so important and why this industry and you being one of the great known stars of it should not be taboo. It's healthy, isn't it?
I think it's healthy when it does not affect or negatively affect your marriage or your relationship or the ability for you to function as a human. So I think everything is healthy. I shouldn't say everything. Most things are healthy in I guess when they're balanced or, in moderation, I guess is the word I was looking for. So I think it's healthy. There are a ton of scientific studies about masturbation and all of the positive things that it can do for both men and women. Yes. So I do think it is healthy. However, do not expect, fellas, okay, everyone listening, okay, and ladies, yes. Okay, you cannot have, okay, you're included too. You cannot expect your husband or wife to be what they see on film. That's not reality. It's not reality. Okay. This is really amped up. It's hypersexual. It is fantasy. It is to help supplement, stimulate, change it up, spice it up. But this is not us every single day. We are very sexual, but I don't blow every pizza guy that delivers pizza.
Really?
It just doesn't
I thought that happened every day. They're the pool boys. You're not screwing the pool boys?
Right? No. Well, I have a nice one.
All right, I'm coming to clean the pool. I'll come clean the pool as soon as quarantine's over.
It's not, oh my God, I just thought of that whole dick in a box thing with Justin Timberlake. But anyway, no, it's not like that. So there's a time and a place, and I feel it's a good thing, but just don't let it run your life, Right. Don't be cheating on your boyfriend or your girlfriend with, porn all the time. Take some time, get close with the person in your house.
Mike in the chat wants, he's locally, he's a big fan of the show. He wants me to know if you need any lawn service. So maybe he can come cut the lawn. We'll see what happens.
I love it. Well, I appreciate the offer, Mike.
It's legal now. Landscaping's back. Dave, I want to go back to you in a second here. But I wanted to ask you this because I'm fascinated by the business in many ways. So let's say you're shooting a scene. And obviously we know that girls like you shoot multiple scenes, multiple days, all that stuff. How long does it take? So let's say shoot one 25-minute scene. How many times are there breaks? Is it like you're just cutting, going, whatever? How does that work?
Yeah. Okay, well, it all depends on what type of scene it is. If you're shooting gonzo, generally you'll know going into it, and the director will say, okay, so I want these positions. I want this, I don't know. I want him to finish here.
Right.
These are the things, whatever. And you'll see him out of the corner of your eye. So you have to be conscientious. He'll go like this. This means switch positions. He'll go like this. This means time to finish.
Right.
So the gonzo is the easiest. Everybody, or most people I know, love gonzo because it's the realest type of sex that you can have.
If I could stop you really quickly, if people ask you, can you explain what gonzo is compared to other things?
Yep. Gonzo is not really scripted. It's kind of like, okay, I have a pizza boy coming to my house. I don't say too much. I give him a look. He knows he can come in, and I get the tip. Okay, this time instead of him.
Oh yeah.
So it's very fast. There's minimal dialogue. And it's just you go through I don't want to say go through the motions. It sounds very anticlimactic. However, you shoot your scene and there's minimal cuts. Now, if the guy is not working out for whatever reason, he's having a bad day,
sure.
Fight with his girlfriend, whatever, he may need a minute, so then there'll be a cut. But generally when a gonzo type scene, they don't like to cut. They like to just shoot straight through, get what they want, and you're out. So that's that type. If you're doing like say a Brazzers script or a feature, that's long as hell. Those are 18, 20-hour days some days, but long. But like a Brazzers, you would have a script. There's photos, there's dialogue, there's hair, there's makeup, there's an intro, and then sometimes you shoot the sex before the actual dialogue. So it's kind of all over the place. And it depends on the director too.
Sure.
I mean, a lot of times, even if it's a scripted type day, some directors let you shoot straight through, and others hold that position for 4 minutes.
Wow.
Do not move.
Wow.
4 minutes. Your body needs to be arched. Your back needs to be up. Do not bend your head. I mean, it is very specific because this particular director wants the best angles. He's known for butts. You better not move. So it really just depends on the director. Sure. But the longer you're doing it and the more seasoned you are, the easier it gets, obviously, just like with anything. So you kind of know what they want.
Another Michigan legend, Alan Lee, actually is out in L.A. where I know you spent some of your time. He used to be the anchor in Fox 2 News. He actually wanted me to ask you a question in a second, but he also said, by the end of this, Dan will be in his pajamas or a Hugh Hefner robe. Did you watch Fox 2?
I love it.
Do you watch Fox 2? Because Alan Lee was on for years. I don't know if you're a Fox 2 viewer. He wanted me to ask because he would be very, very excited if you did watch him in the past.
Alan Lee.
Really good looking, shorter black guy. He moved out to LA recently, but I'm sure you've watched Fox 2 in the past. He was on for years.
I watched Fox 2. I flip back between 2 and 4 usually, but the name sounds familiar. I just don't know. And I almost said, is he African American or black?
Yes.
I try to be politically correct. I'm going to look him up right now.
All right,
that's going to pull me.
We'll have to get.
But I'm going to listen to the question.
Yes, we'll have to get Alan an autograph picture. Alan just said, think Denzel Washington. He's 7 inches shorter and 30 years older. Denzel Washington.
I love it.
Take a look. I'm sure you've seen, because you've lived here in the past, so I'm sure you've seen him. Now, Dave, I know that you and I talked earlier because it's such a fascinating thing, and what Kendra does, what other people in the industry do. I know you have some other things you wanted to ask Kendra.
I wanted to know about the storylines. So you have you have the Gonzo, which is just okay. You're just gonna go, just get at it. But I'm interested in like how do they how do they?
Sorry.
Okay.
Of course you know, Al. Show the picture. Show that picture to your camera. I want everyone to see my good friend Alan Lee. He's a legend in his own mind.
He is because I said
there you go.
Like
you just made his.
You just made Alan Lee's wife. All right, go ahead, Kendra. I'm sorry.
There you go. I just wanted to know about what goes into the storylines. That you have some that are very elaborate, and then you have some that are just basically
those are the ones
really.
I
mean,
yeah.
You know, do they have writers? Is it the directors who does it? Is it do the actresses and actors, do they come up with the lines? Do you have any input into the storyline?
Okay.
Another solid Dave question.
Yeah, that's okay. It's a good question. I actually want to pull up scripts. I mean, I can't, but generally the larger studios, production companies have scripts that are already written. Okay. So you get your script the night before, gives you a real lot of time. It tells you how really detailed they are. But so you get your script and they're already written. I mean, with certain companies, you can say, I'm not really, feeling that. But for the most part, that's the script. So they give you 24 hours. If you're not comfortable with your talent the night before or whatever, then, you can let them know. So the last thing you want to do is cancel the day of. You want to be able for them to find a replacement. But it too, how elaborate the script is depending. If it's a feature, depends on, if it's a contract star. So, but most of them are already pre-written if it's, one of the bigger studios. So,
and that was my next question is, so let's say that you're just not into your co-star. How hard is it?
Fake it till you make it.
You got to be professional. You can say, oh no, I want none of this. It's not going to happen. It's not going to be real. How big a part does that play?
Dave, I got a story for you. Make sure it's all cool here and we're quiet on this one. Oh boy, there have been, a lot, and I'm sure I am not everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. I'm not offended. Okay. But our job is to be professional, right? To, show up on time, essentially play the part. Okay. It's a sexual role, right? So you Dan said, fake it till you make it. This kid still, I don't even think if he's still around. I was not attracted to this young man. Not so much the way he looked, right, but the way he acted on set. He had 6 months in the business. I had probably about 6 years at that point. He's working with, he sees me, I see him. Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. He kind of had like a cocky little attitude, which, fine. Whatever. Sounds like an idiot. I kind of go into my zone. But the icing on the cake is, I guess there's more to the story. But anyway, it's fine. He's kind of doing his own thing or whatever. I'm getting ready to get into makeup. I don't know why they had him there so early, but whatever. He's just kind of cocky, almost like an air about him. Like, okay, yeah, I know, whatever. I got this. Like, okay, I'm 6 months in. I know what I'm doing here. He wasn't hung, first of all. Okay, so I thought maybe really hung because I didn't look it up the night before. Because sometimes I'm like, let me prep what I'm working with tomorrow, depending on what's going on the day before, what I did today, so I know how to prepare the night before. Like, should I soak? Should I this, that, whatever? So I'm thinking maybe he's hung like a horse. Okay, I get it. Big dick syndrome. Fine, cool. Nope. That's not the case. Okay. He's an average Joe. Actually for porn, he was less than average. Okay. Wow. And then he kind of came over to me and he did a little something. And I said, excuse me. Like I was pissed. Like you just I don't care if we are in this type of setting, be a professional. You don't just put your hands on me. No. Like but again, I'm not wanting to ruin the day. Generally, I don't work with new guys. At that point, I wasn't working with new guys because, they killed the scene for me. And I'm like, I'm not going to get a review because this guy can't, keep it together. So we get into the scene. Fine, whatever. At some point we notice while I'm down there that there's, glass on the floor, and my knees, I didn't realize were bleeding. They're cut.
Oh.
No big deal. The show must go on, right? Okay, because I'm in the moment. Let's do this, okay? And I don't stop. Anyway, we're going, and then we transitioned to another position, and his back started hurting. I'm on the floor, and I said, "Really?" I said, "Your back?" I said, "My knees are cut." I said, we gotta keep moving, and I'm trying not to be a jerk because mentally, if you get in the guy's head, it's over, and I'm not trying to have a 12-hour day.
Right.
I want to get a solid 6-8 hours and be done. So he sucks it up, keeps going. And then wasn't time. Okay. We didn't get the signal, and like a rocket. So he blew the seat. I was just like,
this guy sounds like a super douche.
So that really pissed me off. I was just not happy. So I'm just like, okay, no big deal. Like, we'll just sit here, until it can happen again. But anyway, so he had to gain his composure, and then we had, wait around, and then, whatever. So there was a damn point to my story, but
no, you made a great point. And by the way, Chuck on the chat said, so it wasn't Dirk Diggler. By the way, our good friend on the D line, he's a local guy that actually has a t-shirt company, Kendra. He's got a nice comment for you in a second. I think he reached out to you on Twitter, and he wanted to get you a bunch of shirts for free. So he's got some shirts coming your way. He also said,
thank you.
Go ahead. Oh yeah, he said for being so famous, he was shocked at how responsive you were on social media. Very cool, or I guess as I would say, sweet sauce. That's something that you're so great on social media, whether it's Instagram or Twitter, and that's the way I try to be. Unfortunately, during this pandemic, we've been very divisive, and I try to answer everyone whether they agree with me or not. And I spend sometimes 7 hours in a row doing that. All of a sudden, it's midnight and it's 7 a.m. But you seem to be so kind to people. You're gracious. And I think that's one of the reasons that people love you so much, Kendra.
Yeah, because I am not I'm far. I always say thank you, first of all, but I always say, I am not. I don't. There are a lot more attractive women, in the industry and in the world, But I think it's a whole package, It's just. Personality goes a long way, being kind, all those things. So I feel like I'm a big believer in, looks are, aesthetics are, it's great, if someone's a drop dead gorgeous man or woman, but if, their attitude's kind of crappy and, they're not nice, or they don't really tip their waiter or waitress, it's a turn off,
Sure.
So it's like big picture for me. And I think, looks they're not everything. They fade. And at the end of the day, it's true. You have to live with your decisions and the things that you make and how you treat people, and you have to live with you. So you better like you, and hopefully other people like
This
you.
is why I've always loved you from day one, because that's the same way I feel. And Dave's very similar to that as well. That's why we really appreciate you being with us, because this is important for people to have a moment of, just chill and not worry about everything that's going on. I got a question on the chat that I want to get to in a second, but I want to ask you this. When it comes to the business, I have some girlfriends that have thought about getting involved. Obviously, a lot of my girlfriends are a little older now, but when I was younger, many did. I have younger friends of brothers and sisters that have wanted to get into the business. What would you say because is what we talked about earlier, Kendra? Yes, there's taboo in some areas, and I don't think it should be, but it's much more accepted now. It is definitely a great way to make money. I know girls that that's the way you started to make. I can't even tell you how much money they make. What would you say to a younger woman or man, I know you can speak for the women's side, that would want to get into the business right now? What would you tell them?
Well, because I'm a huge advocate for getting post-secondary education. So, get some sort of, I should say, formal education. So I don't care if it's a trade, have something to fall back on first. So I'm sorry, I preface everything with that. Get an education. That's something that nobody can ever take away from you. So get a trade, something. Be good at something already. Okay, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Brilliant.
So is it true they're always working their way through school?
Not always.
No,
Hell no,
that's
it's
a
not,
lie.
Okay, No, I'd like to believe that, and hopefully, and some do. I had a girl on my roster who now I mean, she could have been a big, big star. She decided to get into like medical assisting or whatever. So now she's kind of taken a different path and she's not come back. So I'm happy for her, and she was like, I thought you guys would be upset, because she did bring in great revenue for the agency. And I said, I would never would I ever discourage anyone from ever getting education. Like, nope, not at all. So, so as far as like people getting in industry, I think, again, get your education first. And really, there's no need to go out and shoot for studios anymore. I shouldn't be. The studios are going to hate me for saying that.
You're telling the truth, though.
But
you're just being honest.
But I'm telling you, I am. There's a huge platform right now. It's called Vibe, or excuse me, that's going to be the next thing. It's called OnlyFans. Okay, a lot of people are on it. However, I am grateful to be among 14, 15, 16. There's quite a few owners. But anyway, one of several people who are part of a platform called Vibin, which is going to be bigger and better than OnlyFans. So if you guys are making money on OnlyFans, when this app launches, or it's not necessarily an app, it's a mobile version, and then there's a computer desktop version. It's going to change the game. And I'm super excited. I've been messing with it today. It's not officially launched, but we are. And the guys and girls are going to love it. Both creators, consumers. It's awesome for the fans.
I love it. All right, we're going to get to Dave is prepared. He spent at least 5 minutes, so he spends a lot of time on the Dan Leach one-on-one starring Kendra Lust. So we'll get to some, fast-paced questions in a second here. But this is from Scrally Valley, Kendra. They ask, curious if there were any stars that were major influences on you as you were getting into the business. I think it's a great question.
Yes, there were. However, one of them turned out to be my what did they say?
Arch nemesis.
Or my arch nemesis. Like, she just, as soon as I started gaining momentum, her claws came out and she tried to ruin me. So we won't even mention her because we're going to be positive. Lisa Ann.
Whoa,
anyway,
really?
My drive.
Yeah. But anyway, I usually don't do that.
It's okay.
So anyway,
it's okay. You deserve it.
But there were my husband. I am married. He said, it's about time. It's been 9 years. You've kept your mouth shut. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. He's like, just do it for me. Only reason I coughed while I said it. I did it for him, sort of. So anyway, I looked up to quite a few girls. Like, I loved Julia Ann. I still love her. I think she's just. God, she's just beautiful, and she's a legend. Like, she's been around 20 years plus. I don't know. She's just awesome, and she was so kind to me. I kept forgetting my lines. I was so nervous to work with her, and she kept going over the lines and just trying to help me relax. And she's just freaking awesome. I love her. I love Kathy Ireland, Christy Canyon. Canyon. A lot of those girls. A few of the girls that I looked up to.
Did you start? I read something about Rachel Starr, who I love as well. You and her, two of my favorites. Did Rachel Starr and you start something early? I know you guys had some kind of fun Twitter thing back and forth early on in 2012.
Yeah, we had kind of like when I had started. I knew that she was like a big name back in the day, and I don't know how honestly that we kind of how we got together doing some stuff, but I don't know, we were kind of like a cool duo at conventions and stuff for a while, and she taught me we feature danced a little bit together, so she kind of taught me some things definitely early in the game. And then I think as I gained momentum, and I think people just kind of move in different directions, and I think that's kind of what happened. And I mean, she's doing well, but it's hard when you're trying to make your own path to like live in somebody's or be in somebody's footsteps. You kind of want to make your own way. But it definitely some good times. She is one funny woman, and she's wild and crazy, and it's a good time.
Oh yes. Before we get to the one-on-one, you brought up your husband, and we got a chance to say hi to him earlier. Good-looking gentleman. I mean, I'm not into guys, but good-looking gentleman.
Well,
so you both did very well. I have a lot of people actually are asking this too on the chat, but I really have been interested in asking you this. Being in the business doing what you do, I know you met him when you were very young. I think you said elementary school. What is it like for him and you? And I know you've talked about being open sexually, which I think is a great thing. It's the way I am. Yeah. What's it like for him to have his wife be in the business?
Yeah, for him, if he wasn't okay with it, obviously I wouldn't be doing it. He is by no means I don't want to say it because he's not like I don't want to say he's not like a pussy, but he's a man's man.
Yes. He's not a wuss.
So yeah, no, he's not going to just be like, oh yeah, you can just sit and, right. No, it's not how it works.
Right.
But he's supportive. He understands, I think we both understand sex is sex. And, I am not sharing feelings with any of these people. I don't want to say they mean nothing. I respect them as colleagues and that type of thing, but it's work and, that's it. So he's fine with it as long as he's okay with it. If for some reason he's uncomfortable, we talk about it and that's fine. Like if he's not saying it's going to go, it's not happening.
All right. Beautifully said. All right. Let's get into it. This is a Dan Leach 101 starring the world famous Kendra Lust. Dave, fire away. Question number 1.
You mentioned this earlier about being into some classic rock. The Rolling Stones, they haven't had a number 1 hit in 40 years. Now they're number 1 in iTunes, and now they're on the Billboard charts. Yeah. And now they have a number 1 hit with their new song, Living in a Ghost Town on iTunes. If you could have any band or artist come back with the new song, who would you want?
I like it.
Oh, God. People are going to be so mad at me for this. I loved Def Leppard back in the day.
Pour some sugar on me. They were great.
Yeah, it was one of my first concerts, so I love Def Leppard.
I like it. For me, my favorite band, Pearl Jam, just came out with a new album called Gigaton. They are the best. I've actually met Eddie Vedder's one of my claims to fame. He's about 5 feet tall. He's shorter than Jennifer Aniston. But their album is amazing. But U2 is the band I'd pick. I want U2. Or Zeppelin, Page and Plant, and John Paul Jones to do one more album. Even though no John Bonham, that's where I would go. Great answer. I get it though, Kendra. Def Leppard, awesome. Dave, question 2.
So Netflix has added 16 million subscribers since January, and obviously with the pandemic going on. Are you watching any shows right now? Are you binging on any shows on different streaming services? Tell us about it.
Dave, you have no idea how I'm so excited you asked me about that. I'm such a dork. Okay. Everybody's been this whole Tiger King thing. Okay, I finished that. I had to. Carol Baskin. Wait. She killed her husband. She whacked him, fed him to tigers. He snapped it. What's happening?
That's great.
Yeah, so Carol Baskin. Oh, God, she did kill him. I believe
100%. 150%.
I know. She's evil in disguise.
Hey, Kendra, did you see it? It came out really quick. It came out a few days ago that she thought that they tricked her. That when they were filming her 5 years ago, they said they were going to do a certain thing. She thought that they invaded her privacy. She's full of crap.
Yeah, she's very articulate. She's not a dumb woman.
No.
It's a tiger rescue my ass. She's doing the same thing that Joe Exotic was doing.
Yep.
Okay. Pardon him, or what are they trying to say? What is the word that they use? Exonerate him. Okay, let him free. Okay, all right. Sorry. Okay, so watch that. Finished Ozark. Absolutely loved that.
Brilliant show.
Oh my God, Jason Bateman, one of my favorite actors of all time. Back on Family Ties, baby, when he was with Mallory. Okay, loved him then, love him now. What else? Oh, watching this twisted thing. It's called Unbelievable. It's based on a true story. It's about a girl who was a foster child, whatever. She ends up getting out on her own, was actually raped, recanted her story. Anyway, I'm only in the 3rd episode, but so far it's really, really good.
So you got good stuff going on there. Those are all, I haven't seen that yet, but of course, Tiger King.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that one either.
Ozarks is incredible.
It's kind of a downer, so I don't recommend it. But it's just so far.
Sometimes you need downers. It's okay. It balances it out.
Yeah.
Something else that I just could not get enough of is the Kaminsky Method, Kendra. I don't know if you've seen that with Michael Douglas and Alan Arkin. It's on Amazon or Netflix, I think. It is incredible. He's Michael Douglas is an acting coach. And he was supposed to be an actor. He couldn't make it. It's just a great, great show. And now as far as binging, I know they only premiere once a week, but Homeland has been unbelievable in its final season, and so has Westworld in its third season. So those are a bunch of. I watch so many shows, Kendra. My DVR, along with the porn and the sports, and the horse racing, it's filled 95%. So I have so many shows right now. I got to catch up on the rest. Dave, great question. What do you got for number 3?
So we heard that you're a big NBA fan and you like football. So this question, Pistons legend Isaiah Thomas has come out recently. He disputes that MJ, Michael Jordan, is the GOAT. He says that LeBron James and Kevin Durant would have ruled back in the 80s. Do you agree with Isaiah?
Zeke?
That is absolutely not. The only reason I think he's maybe saying that is maybe there's a little saltiness because Michael was better than him. But no, LeBron, there's no way. I love LeBron. He's the greatest. It was, MJ, I don't care what anybody says. Kobe, LeBron. Kevin Durant, please.
The
only reason he couldn't win a championship without Golden State. So sorry, no, he's already X'd out. LeBron, he doesn't have the clutch gene. He just doesn't. He's not wired that way. He never has been, and he never will be. Period. I love him, mad respect, but Michael was a machine. There's just nobody was wired like him. Him and Kobe, the closest thing
Kendra,
to each other.
I already loved you, but I love you even more now. And you brought up 3 really important things. One, Lambert was, towing the company line. Isaiah towing the company line. Because, of course, the Pistons got the Bulls 3 times. Then the Bulls swept us. Yep. Then the Pistons. And I'm a sportsmanship guy, and I can tell you are too. When they walked off the court, did shake their hands. That still kills me. It was bad. It was bad.
It was. Absolutely.
But I kind of like.
It was terrible.
I kind of like.
It was classless. The Pistons were back-to-back champions. Be like gracious and go out as a champion, not as an idiot. But I love the Bad Boys. Go ahead, Kendra. What were you saying?
I do too. Look they're on my wall over here. Okay.
Look at that.
Right. See, I love it.
See, they're the best.
Over here.
You got some great stuff in the girls' cave. People have man caves. You got a girls' cave. But
yeah, these are all things that I like. I'm like, no, I don't really like that. I like that.
I'll say this, though, that you are 100% right about the clutch gene. Because, listen, Kobe and MJ were never scared or met a shot they didn't want to take. LeBron would pass on shots over and over again. And one more thing. It's not all about titles. The titles matter. Jordan 6-0. 6-0. He probably would have gone 8 or 9 now. If he didn't retire.
And never went to Game 7.
Went to Game 7. So, MJ,
commanded the ball. Wanted the last shot. Didn't pass. Didn't pussy out.
MJ's the GOAT. Always will be the GOAT.
Yes.
Always has been the GOAT. And to be honest, I would put the late, great Kobe Bryant at number 2. I've had him there for a long time. He was incredible. Ellen Lee says, Kendra, standing ovation. MJ, all day. And he's out there in LA with LeBron.
Oh, yeah, okay. Awesome. Thank you for that. That's awesome. I'm looking forward to The Last Dance tomorrow.
Yes.
Very good
awesome.
so far.
God.
And the Bad Boys are going to play a big part in these episodes.
And that Bad Boys documentary, by the way, the 30 for 30 was great. All right, Dave, question 4.
Yeah.
So German police, they burst into a cellar the other day and they found a rogue hairdresser going on, and they had to stop this. There were these women in these 2 cellars of their homes that were doing hair. So in this time of the pandemic, that it's against the rules, what would you be willing to get done to break the rules? What would you?
I've already told Kendra she's naturally beautiful. She's like, I don't want to makeup. You don't need any makeup, so she doesn't need anything.
Sweet. No, well, you'd be surprised in the morning. But I would probably, so I admit, like, my nails are, like, so short right now. Longer than, I guess, they than some people's. But probably, I'm going to have to agree with those ladies. Put me in that cellar, baby. Do this hair. Because right now, it's like
it looks great.
my real hair. And it needs to be cut, okay? It's nice to run my fingers through it, but I have no volume. It's just dead and tired. So hair.
Kendra, women everywhere that are watching this are jealous about how great your hair looks during a quarantine.
Oh, God.
But
zoom in, baby.
We got it.
Dead end.
By the way, for me, and obviously this would be completely unsafe and I can't do it, but I'd want to get a massage. I think massages are great. They're so good for you. I've got a girlfriend that gives massages for a living, so I just really miss massages. And I've been walking every day, Kendra, trying to get in good shape. And massages could really be helping right now. Unfortunately, not for a little while. All right.
Yeah.
Dave, let's hit it out of the park as we always do with question 5.
So I'm sure Kendra has spent many days and nights in Las Vegas. And the Vegas resorts are taking reservations for May, even though the stay-at-home order has been extended. Mm-hmm. Can you think of a place in America that would be more dangerous to go to than Las Vegas right now?
I can't. Maybe China?
Place in America? I know. A place in America, though.
No, I can't.
I don't want to say New York, but that shit's scary. Yeah, I mean, the hot spot. I don't know. I don't have a good one. And this is really bad because this is supposed to be like the big question.
No, you're doing great. You already aced it.
Oh, God. I don't know. Inner city of Chicago.
Sure.
Jesus Christ. I mean, that's some scary shit. I'm not calling out my own city.
Cabrini Green.
You all know this.
Yep, Cabrini Green in Chicago. See, for me, Kendra, and I love Vegas, and I'm sure you do too with all the stuff you can do there in the adult entertainment industry, but I would never go to Vegas. Because the mayor's being nuts right now, saying she's going to will the people to be the test case for the virus. That's crazy. But think about a casino. There's card games. There's poker. There's people that are coughing. There's people having sex in bathrooms. Vegas would be the worst possible place you could go right now, except if you wanted to set up an RV in the desert. You want to go to the desert and just, camp out, fine. Yeah. But not the casinos, that's for sure. Dave, great.
The desert could be a dangerous place too. I have one more question from my brother for Kendra.
Really quick, I know where all the bodies are buried in the desert.
You said you have to ask her this question, and that is: being a lifelong Detroit sports fan, will the Detroit Lions ever win a Super Bowl?
Oh, I love it. I'm a big Lions slap, Kendra. You know that.
Okay, this is a really tough one. They will, but not in my lifetime.
Kendra, you're gonna live to 120. They're not gonna win a Super Bowl like 21-32. What's going on here?
Yeah, it's not gonna be for a while. I would have loved to have them have won one for my mom, because my mom is the biggest Lion. If you've ever met a Lions fan, they will not top my mom. She is 5 feet tall, full of cuss words. I mean, every time the Lions are, it's bad. She yells at the grandkids, like literally, get out of the damn way of the TV. I mean, she's nuts. So I would have loved for them to have done so while my mom is here. But I don't think it's going to happen.
Let's just pray. Let's pray that we're both. I mean, Kendra, Dave knows this. He's a bro. See, Dave is asking that question for me, his brother. But Kendra, we got to call Dave out. Dave's one of my best friends. He's a great sportsman, but he's also a trader and part of the Rebel Alliance. He's a Broncos fan, as you can see. He's from Detroit, Kendra. I've lived in Costa Rica, Atlanta, Florida, New Hampshire, California. I've been all over the world. I've always been a Lions fan. Dave became a Broncos fan when he was 7 years old because the Lions lost a preseason game. So the question is coming from a trader, but I can't say they're going to win one. Kendra, I was in the background. You guys can't see my camera. I've got my 1991 Barry Sanders jersey. I was at the playoff win. I was at the 2,000-yard game. I will never give up, never surrender. But they have one playoff win in 62 years. So I have nothing to live for. Like, I have no track record, Kendra.
Nothing to live for.
Nothing. But I'll never give up. Listen, Kendra, we can't thank you enough for being on with us. A few more things I want to get to. We'll have to do this again sometime. People are going crazy on the chat. They love you. And you're just a great human being. You're beautiful on the inside and out. And I know maybe this sounds weird for me to say to some people, but I know you and Dave will know it makes sense. You help a lot of people in many different ways. And I think what you do is beautiful. And I think what your career path has been is beautiful. And you're married and the family stuff is beautiful as well. So kudos to you on all of that, because it's not easy to do what you do. But I do want to ask you this, because you're doing some charity stuff And obviously, I always try to do whatever I can, and Dave does, being in the business we are, being what you are. You talked to me, we were talking yesterday about Spread Detroit and other things you're involved in. Please let people know what that's all about, how they can get involved, and thank you for doing what you're doing.
Yes, well, thank you guys as well. I think we're all doing what we can, and it doesn't have to be, I think sometimes people think it has to be like this big elaborate measure, and it could be just something as simply as, if you have an elderly neighbor and just checking in on them, see how they're doing, you can ring their doorbell, talk from a distance, pick up a Kroger click list for them, something. For me anyway, I feel compelled. A couple of my fans had sent in email messages saying, I have a friend that works in New York, and she's a paramedic. So we kind of did something for her fire station, and just tried to do some things locally with Beaumont Hospital here. We fed the hospital one day. And then I had one of my sponsors reach out through It's Halo Dog Food, and they said, hey, we want to give you some money. And I said, hey, cool, I'll match it.
Oh.
Let's feed some, some people.
That's awesome.
Like first responders. So my husband was a police officer for a long time, and he still has a lot of friends in the Detroit department. So we are going to send some food from Chad's Bistro, Spread Detroit will be down there. So we're going to feed a couple of the precincts, and then so Spread Detroit's down there. I'm trying to think of the other company is Chad's Bistro out here. I believe they're in Rochester, but they're locally, and we are going to feed the sheriff department, Macomb County Sheriff Department. So we have a couple friends that work there as well. So we're going to make sure that they're working those days, and send some food for all of them, because those are thankless jobs, and these people are heroes every day, not just in the time of a pandemic. So yeah, we just want to give back. And grateful to be able to do that.
Beautiful, beautiful stuff. I think it's so important to try to do whatever we can now. By the way, I've been flashing your Twitter across the screen throughout the show, but your website's allinwithkendra.com. Before we go, I want you to explain to people what that's all about.
Yes.
I also wanted to do a couple more things here. First, we know you love sports, and you told me your dad played hockey in college. You obviously played basketball. You played softball as well. Sports for you as a kid, you mentioned being a tomboy. What were some of your favorite things, when it comes to Detroit sports memories, all that kind of stuff?
Okay, so I'm going to touch upon Dave's hat a little bit.
Uh-oh.
Okay, and it's not a bad thing. It's a positive. It's a positive thing. In my tomboy days, I remember being in first grade playing football with the boys, and I was John Elway. I was the quarterback.
There we go. Very nice.
He's a great quarterback. It's the team itself.
Very nice.
So I've loved John Elway for a long time.
Very nice. There you go, Dan. See that?
Hey, I've always loved Elway, but not the Broncos.
See that, Dan? Okay. Yeah. Very nice.
So I don't know. So Elway, I've kind of not followed closely, but I liked him, and I knew of him from a young age. As far as sporting events, I don't remember my parents taking us to really too many football dates, like going to any of the games. My dad used to like to take my mom, and their first date was a Detroit Lions game, and my dad really thought he was trying to tell my mom about sports, and she thought to herself, here's what she said. She goes, and I thought, this asshole, I know more about sports than he does. This is, and then they end up getting married, right? But anyway, so, but my parents took us to, I remember going to a lot of the Detroit Tigers games, and Pistons games, a little bit of wrestling too. So that was kind of cool. Yeah. I go off talking so much. Can I just answer the damn question?
Yeah, we can listen to you forever. By the way, a couple quick comments here. Scrod, thank you, Dan, and tell Kendra, thank you for answering my question. A great deal of respect for all of you. Max said, phenomenal act of kindness for what you're doing with Spread Detroit and the other restaurant. That's great to hear. So awesome on you. All right, I've got some rapid fire for you. We'll call it Quizzing with Kendra. Just to give a quick answer.
Got it.
All right, I think you might have already answered this. Favorite athlete? Okay. Is it John Elway or is it someone else? Favorite athlete?
Michael Jordan.
All right, the GOAT. I can't give you anything wrong with that. Favorite all-time band? I know we played some Quiet Riot for you. We'll play it in a minute. But is Quiet Riot your favorite all-time band or someone else?
No, I have some good memories with Belle Biv DeVoe, so I don't know.
Poison!
I love that.
Belle Biv DeVoe. Kendra, Belle Biv DeVoe was my 1989. I ripped it up in the bar mitzvahs in West Bloomfield and Farmington Hills, dancing to Belle Biv DeVoe. Those were my guys.
I bet you did.
I won many awards, many dancing awards. All right, your all-time favorite movie. I know it's an impossible question because we obviously like TV and movie, you and I, Dave. What's your all-time favorite movie or one of them?
God. It is just so hard to name just one. I mean, I can't do Dirty Dancing. I mean, I guess of a specific era, like newer would have to be Hangover. Just a classic for me now.
Right.
But Ferris Bueller's Day. I mean, I have some cheesy ones. I mean, I watched a really funny one. It was Friday or what was it? Friday After Next. I don't know. Like it just depends. But it's so hard just to name one.
I told you these are the tough questions. Dirty Dancing, you can't put Baby or Kendra in a corner. We know that. All right.
Never.
You know I already love you, so this won't affect this, but it could definitely help. Very important question. Michigan State or Michigan?
Oh, boy.
Well, my grandfather played football for U of M, so I cannot go I can't go against my grandfather.
I knew it.
God rest his soul.
Wow. Hail to the Kendra victors. All right, the biggest celebrity you've ever met.
Biggest celebrity I've
ever
met.
And also if they were a jerk as well, like that director.
God, biggest celebrity. It would probably, I don't know. To me, I don't, I mean, actors, actresses, yes. I mean,
I'm sure you've met. I'm sure you've met many.
I've met quite a few.
First one that comes to mind. Have you ever? I mean, Brad Pitt, Tom Selleck.
No, not anyone of that caliber. I don't know. I like basketball player Rick Mahorn. He's awesome.
Kendra.
But I guess that's not like a big celebrity. I've met some like Busta Rhymes. I've met some. You meet a lot of people like in passing, but nobody. I guess. Big, maybe.
Speaking of Rick Mahorn, Kendra, I had the honor and pleasure. I've worked with Rick for many years, but I've actually called Pistons games with Rick, and I called the Bad Boys reunion game at the Palace. But there still was a Palace. We wouldn't get into how depressing that is right now. I called that game with him, and Horn's my guy. He calls me the love muscle because I refer to Russell Westbrook as Russell the love muscle. He calls me the love muscle. He is the best.
I love
Horn's the best. All right, I got two.
Oh wait, Kelly Rippon. Maybe Kelly Rippon.
She's huge.
She's pretty well known. Kelly Rippon. She's very sweet.
Someone on the chat wanted me. DR wants me to ask you your favorite classic porn movie. I don't know if I have an answer for that. Debbie does Dallas. Do you have a favorite classic porn?
I swear to God, a classic porn. I don't even know the one I was watching. I got it from my parents on VHS, but I don't know if it was my favorite or just was available.
I broke into my dad's porn collection at a very young age, probably before I should have, but I remember some of those old school Ron Jeremy. Kendra, I found I'm so smart. I'm such an industrious young man. My dad had him locked in the basement office, and I found the key. I cracked in. I was probably 9 years old. I'm like, what are all these weird blue tapes? And that was when I fell in love with porn. All right, two more here. If you
don't mind me as I blot my oil.
Oh,
I am so
you look great.
Oh, I don't care.
If you could meet anybody, if you could meet anybody, Kendra, dead or alive, who would it be? Anybody.
I would love to meet Michael Jordan. I loved watching him play. He's just, I don't know, awesome. Okay, he's one of them. But you have to give somebody like time to prepare for
But then it would be quizzing with Kendra. It would be for preview quizzing with Kendra.
It's true.
There's no wrong answers for you. You're doing great.
Yeah, I'd love to meet Shaq too because he's so freaking funny.
He is hilarious.
He's so funny. We've corresponded via Instagram here or there, and he's really nice. He's just down to earth. He's cool. He's fun.
Right. Have you watched his new show on TNT? It's pretty funny.
I have not, but on my list.
Okay, and then last one. This one won't be hard for you to answer. Your all-time, we got connected a few years back just from sports, and I know you love sports. You mentioned your mom being the lion slap like I am. Your all-time favorite Detroit sports moment. And before you get yours, I'll give you a second to think. For me, there are so many, but there's no doubt in my mind and heart that I was at the Rose Bowl in 98 for Michigan and Washington State, and I was at the Barry Sanders 2,000-yard game when they carried him off the field in 1997. My dad and grandpa and myself at the Silverdome, I was crying. I'm not embarrassed to admit it. So those are the two for me. But for you, and it's a tough question too because there are so many great ones, not as many lately, but what would you say is your all-time favorite moment in Detroit sports?
Being present, because I haven't been to like
anything.
A ton.
Doesn't have to be present.
It would probably be, and I know this is it lacks luster because it's not, I was really a lot younger and didn't, I think, appreciate sports as much. When I was younger, when Isaiah Thomas and the Bad Boys were playing, I watched it, but I didn't understand it as much. You know what I mean?
Of course.
But I would say when, sadly, I don't know the year, so this is bad. When Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton,
2004.
Tayshaun Prince,
The going to work Pistons.
That was an awesome. It was just cool to be able to watch that. My mom loves the Pistons too, so family was over. It was cool. It was nice. It was almost like, okay, we're back. It didn't last long, but that's okay.
Basketball, my man Mason. Detroit basketball. It's the best. I love Mason. All right, before we go, we're going to do our house items in a second. But Kendra, please let everyone know where they can stay in touch with you. I know your website is allinwithkendra.com. I went on that, and there's great stuff on there. And obviously, I'm sure when things open up again, you'll be. I know did you perform? You did something in February somewhere at a club, I know, but then everything shut down. So when will that start picking up? How can they stay in touch with you? You mentioned OnlyFans. Give everyone any way they can stay in touch with what you're doing because we got a ton of your fans on right now, and I want to make sure they know.
Awesome. Well, I think the oldie but goodie is my Twitter, Kendra Lust. My Instagram is Kendra Lust. And guys, please, it's the only one with a blue check mark. And I'm not trying to brag about the check mark, but if there's anybody else direct messaging you or trying to get in touch with you, it is not me unless it has the blue check mark. So Kendra Lust on Instagram, and then I have a TikTok. It's Kendra Lust. Allinwithkendra.com. And I'm bummed because I was supposed to be flying. I was supposed to be in Vegas around this time, filming, getting ready for the podcast that I'm going to be doing, which is called All In with Kendra. And because of the pandemic, I can't, but that's okay.
You'll be able to
everything.
eventually.
So that'll be coming sometime this year.
Right.
We'll just play it by ear at this point. So those are the main places.
And you and I definitely have to do a TikTok because that will go viral. Well, not because of me, because of you. We definitely have to find a way to do a TikTok.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Just downloaded TikTok. I love it. All right, Dave, we'll start with you, your interesting, exciting house item of the day. Dave normally comes up with something pretty good, but one time Kendra had that stupid Broncos Miles, their horse mascot. He was wearing it for the whole show. It was stupid. All right, Dave, what do you got today?
My all-time favorite baseball announcer, Ernie Harwell of the Detroit Tigers.
Oh, that's great.
So bobblehead of Ernie signed.
Awesome.
He was a pretty great guy. My first interview that I ever did getting into the broadcasting business when I was in high school was with Ernie Harwell after he got fired by the Tigers.
Stupid.
So this is a little bobblehead that I have as my house item of the day.
I like
That's
it.
awesome.
That's awesome. Kendra, what do you have in your unbelievable women's cave down there?
Well, funny you have I have a bobblehead too of one of my favorite UFC fighters, and hers is signed too.
Ooh.
It's cool. It's Miesha Tate. I guess I'll bobble with you.
Yes, you got to bobble together.
Oh.
So awesome. So this was it's very delicate, but oops.
Be careful.
Sorry. This is Miesha Tate. So can you guys see?
I think
Do I have it?
We just lost your camera.
I got rid of you guys.
Come back. Come back, Kendra. We need you.
I'm back. I'm back. Right.
Oh, did we lose her? We'll get her back. I see her.
I'm back.
She's back. She's back.
I'm so sorry about that. I can't move. I can't move.
Don't you worry. All right, show us that sweet bobblehead.
So look at how cool she is.
Awesome.
It doesn't bobble as much. It's just a little shaky, but yeah, it's really kind of cool. So
Miesha Tate is awesome too. She's a great fighter.
Isn't she? She's just a beautiful human. I love her.
She is.
Yeah.
All right, for me, and I know you two can't see this, but I'll show it to the camera. Kendra, and I'm not trying to get depressing here, but we're all in this together. My uncle sadly passed away a couple years ago now, and he was very close with me and my family. A huge sports guy, lived actually in California as well, in Colorado. He was a huge fan of yours. So I've got a huge framed picture of my uncle and my father and my other uncles. And me and my nephew, all the generations. And I just did it in honor of you and him because you were both beautiful people. And I just wanted to do a little. I know that if he's somewhere, Kendra, in the big box of the sky is on YouTube right now, watching this show and saying, Danny, you're quite the operator. He always would call me an operator and tell me I got it going on. And he was the best. So I did that.
Kendra, you have no idea.
Aw, that's awesome.
All right, before we go, I just wanted to give Dave and you a chance for any parting shots you have. Kendra, I can't thank you enough. You are an incredibly beautiful woman inside and out, and this was a very special show for us, and we appreciate your time a lot today.
Oh gosh, thank you for having me. I mean, I will always support my local community, small businesses, anything that I can help out with. I'm so grateful and so cool to be on. And for the fans who tuned in, thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome.
Dave, what do you got?
We appreciate you coming on. It's really nice to meet you. Thanks so much. Everybody, practice social distancing, flatten the curve, wear your masks, stay at home. And I always end the show with a quote from my favorite TV football coach, Coach Eric Taylor from Friday Night Lights. Clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose.
See? This is why Dave's emotional. It's why I love the guy.
I love it. So sweet.
For me, I can't thank you enough, and I love Dave being with me on these shows because he's a very close friend. He's been there for me in many ways. I think it's so important for us, as we talked about, and what you're doing with some charity work and what we all try to do to be there for each other, to know that we're in this. It's that old hashtag, we're in this together, but you're not alone, and that we will get through this. And as long as we are kind to each other, spread love, not hate, we'll not just get through this, but on the other side, it's going to be that much more beautiful. So it's people like you, Kendra, that make that happen. Make the world go round. So thank you. Until next time, we love you tuning in. Kendra,
thank you.
You're the best. Dave, love you.
Thank you, guys.
Task Force, out. Believe in the dream. We love y'all.
10-4.
TikTok soon with me and you, Kendra.